Thanks, Simon. Before I hand over to Peter, who's champing at the bit to get going here, just a small introduction, and I haven't introduced myself. Rob Perkins is my name. I'm the Executive Director of the Australian Road Transport Suppliers Association. We have probably maybe half the people in this room are our members and are therefore familiar with ARTSA. Peter will run through just a little bit on ARTSA at the moment. We're an organisation that's been around for around 40 years now as a supplier organisation. Peter likes to use the phrase, we do useful things. We're a technical organisation, not really a sales organisation, and we have many, many relationships both with other associations and peak bodies, but in particular we also have really good working relationships with all the regulatory and policy organisations, some of whom are sitting in this room this evening or today. So with that little bit of background, I'll hand across to Dr. Peter Hart. Peter is our chairman, our long-standing chairman of ARTSA, and he is going to also welcome you and then introduce the first session. There are some programs on the table, and basically the day will run with a series of presentations in the morning from Bitry and also the NTC and Newark, as well as ourselves. We'll then have morning tea, and then we'll get into the details of the ARTSA truck and trailer data. After lunch, we've got Les Bruiser from HBR doing a PBS presentation, and then we'll have a panel discussion around 2:30 with the presenters, and an opportunity to ask questions. During lunchtime, we'll have a table in the foyer where you'll be able to come and speak to our chief analyst, Andrew, at the back of the room here, who's webcasting this as we speak. So there might be an opportunity for those that have got detailed questions to speak to Andrew. He's the bloke who both writes the code and presses the buttons, as Stuart McMurtry knows. So I'd like to welcome everyone and enjoy the day, ask lots of questions. You'll see some stuff today that you've never seen before. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. As Rob mentioned, ARTSA exists, as I see it, to do useful things for the industry, particularly for our members, but more generally the broader industry. We are not a political organisation, we're a technical-based organisation, and we like to collaborate with all companies, including the other associations. Rob mentioned 40 years. I think it's about time that Rob actually wrote the history of ARTSA.
Maybe I should retire.
Because I thought it was 25 years, but Bob, how long has ARTSA been around? Do you know? No, Bob Pearson.
Well, didn't Peter Smith have a fair bit back in the 80s?
The 80s, yes. Well, there you go. Why is that important? Well, ARTSA happens to be older than the ATA and TIC and HBIA and anyone else that you can name. And we're still here. I think we're still doing useful things. Our mission statement, ARTSA brings together road transport industry suppliers to promote practices and technologies that enhance safety, productivity and the reputation of the industry. The motivation for this conference is to do with the ARTSA data project, and I should explain what that is. Over the last 5 years, we have gained access to and started analysing the NEVDIS database. Specifically, we get information on commercial vehicles, 3.5 tonne and above. We focus in our first year or so on the heavies, that's what we call the heavy duty segment, which is 12 tonne and above. But lately, we've been looking at the 4.5 tonne and above. So we now have a pretty good handle on what's in that NEVDIS database. You'll learn today that there are some foibles or challenges in that database. Nonetheless, we, mainly Andrew, but with my help and Rob's help, have brought some understanding or interpretations to that data. And we think we've got an interesting story about this industry to tell. More broadly, it's my thesis that the heavy vehicle industry in Australia doesn't represent itself very well in the political space. It doesn't have numbers that it can quote. It seems to be an invisible manufacturing industry in this country. And it's important that we as an industry understand ourselves so that we can make the case, we can promote ourselves and describe the good things that we're doing. Because we're doing a hell of a lot of good stuff in this community. So the ARTSA database is part of that general idea, general hope that we can explain and promote our industry better in the community. Today, the conference is broader than the ARTSA database. We decided that we should invite people who have different areas of expertise, different perspectives in terms of the freight task, road safety, the value of this industry. And so this is a one-day conference that has a lot of content. I think at the end of the day you'll all be tired with statistics and knowledge and hopefully some understanding. But it's worth doing. I don't think anyone has recently done a conference like this, and I hope that, that you'll get a lot out of it. I hope that you'll interact with us, with the conference, ask questions and start some good discussion. So my sincere hope is that every one of you will learn something about the heavy vehicle industry today in this conference. I'd like to ask David Mitchell to come forward from ARTSA to make a first presentation. And this is a very important presentation, very relevant, the size of the freight task. And David is the Director of Infrastructure at ARTSA, and he can perhaps better describe to you exactly what he does in his day-to-day work. But all I know is that he's an expert in the field. So, David, thank you very much for being here.